And let's go. Fire in the booth. Imagine that. Right. Welcome back to EBC members. Today we've got Charlie, aka the proud owner of the Lessons They Taught Us Instagram page. Big up Lessons They Taught Us. Charlie reluctantly decided to embark on a university project that involved me and Jay. So
Instant fail.
So one of our first questions that I wanted to ask you was, when we said, yeah, mate, of course you can we'll help you in any way, shape or form, did you then check our stuff out and go, fuck, I wish someone else said yes?
Yeah, I thought, oh no, like what have I got myself into here?
I was going to say, just out of curiosity, how did you come across our page?
I believe you came across me actually.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was so. I literally just got a like from like Ryan one day on your account, and then I think I messaged after that. Oh, like I saw you like my post. Like, would you be interested in sort of like promoting my content for your audience? And then, yeah, rest is history. Like, just sort of, just like that's how it came across. And then, yeah, I had a lot of like, I like to like contact a lot of like sort of like charities and like podcasts and stuff. So many people just went cold on me, but you guys were straight in there, and I'm very, very thankful for your support.
No, I was going to say that's mint. I always like to ask because obviously, like, we do get a few people that organically come through, don't we? But I also am like a madman at like engaging, and like I'll go through like certain hashtags, like related to our content. So you might have put like a hashtag on one of your posts or whatever that might have like something that I stumbled upon, and then I'll just be like, yeah, I like that. Give him a like, bang, and then I found like it usually possibly like draw people in, or it might start a conversation as it has done obviously with yourself, Charlie, and then that's how most people like we kind of get a rapport with, innit? Like
straight away.
It's just mad how far a like can go. Can fucking get
the amount of messages that like, oh, cheers for liking my post, love what you're doing, guys, love to like link up with you, and then it's just we go from there. Like we're not turned fucking anyone away, have we?
No, never would do, unless it was like a paedophile. No, I'm joking.
Can you share your story with us, Mr. Savile? Yeah, I think we'd have to do a bit of a vetting process before we hit record on that one, mate.
Yeah.
Anyway, swiftly moving on from Savile.
Let's do that.
What can you tell us just a bit more about the page itself? Because I know it's called The Lessons They Taught Us. And from that, like I said, I'm not as close to it, but from what Ryan's told me, is it about like kind of back in the olden days, like from the war and stuff like that, and like what lessons we can learn from then?
Yeah. So I basically sort of I sort of for this, like, so it's basically part of my dissertation for my final year history project. My final year history degree. I could have like done this classic like sort of, you write like a 10,000 word massive long essay, but I chose instead to sort of like do like it's called public history project. So like basically like getting like sort of academic history out in like the open, out for like people to see, just beyond like, you're like snobby like academic sort of like academic sort of articles and stuff. So I'm actually making it accessible. So it came about through that, and then I initially wanted to do it on I wanted to do it on like men's mental health because that was something I was sort of growing like increasingly passionate about at the time, and then I sort of that like naturally led me down the route of like if you look at like masculinity in history, you're gonna come sort of across the war, like World War I, quite quickly. And it led me down like the sort of like shell shock route and things like that. Yeah. And then eventually like I came across like the scope of what the project was, so my argument basically for it was that men in the trenches in World War I, sort of like when in like the toughest time of their lives, they turned to each other for emotional support when sort of like when they were just facing an incredibly tough time. And I sort of looked at that and thought, like, wow, that's like really like relatable to sort of like what is being sort of like promoted in the men's mental health like movement today. That idea of just like using each other to sort of, and like being open with each other, etc., etc. So that's sort of like the scope of the project. That's the main argument, is like these men used each other in the trenches for like emotional support, to sort of get through their troubles, basically. And yeah, that's sort of how it came about. And then I was debating about like how to actually like communicate it, and then chose in the end just like an Instagram account where I sort of narrate over photographs. There's like some amazing photographs that I found which like show what I'm talking about in action, really. Yeah, that's basically how it happened. Yeah.
I'm gonna have a little look at the page now.
No, there it is. Down. There you go. And I suppose, yeah, just like while he's fanning about looking at your page, when I think you've turned the Wi-Fi off, is that like?
No, it's fine. It's sound, mate.
Like when they were in their like situations together, like that was their reality, if you know what I mean. Like they couldn't come home until shit was won, so they had to have each other's backs in an emotional perspective, because, like, say in the morning they're gonna have to go and fucking shoot at people and kill people, and like imagine like, you know, like today's society, like we've got to get up and like, you know, go for a walk or go read a book, and it's like you can't really compare it and stuff. So their reality was like, we could die tomorrow, so we've got to be as strong mentally as we are physically if we want to fucking come home from this war and see our wives, our children and stuff. So their situations were a billion times worse than what sort of men of today have in their own lives. Like there's no comparison towards it, but the crossover is the harmony between men, and they're coming together to help one another. If one of us is on the down, you need a group of, like, you know, your war veterans, aka friends, to pick you up from that and fucking dust yourself down and be like, nah, we need to come home to our kids, mate. So if you either kill or be killed, like, it's up to you, mate. And that's motivation ridiculously, innit? Kill or be killed. Like, yeah, that's it. Fire in my belly to go and fucking kill some. I can't remember who the enemy was in World War One. I don't want to say the wrong one.
I don't even think you know.
No, I think that was World War Two.
I was going to say, it's something that was mentioned as well is when we did a previous podcast with Robin, who we mentioned earlier before we started recording. Robin mentioned as well that you can, like, with the generational trauma, it can cycle all the way back to like our ancestors and, you know, all stuff like that from the war, and like a lot of that kind of noise and shell shocked situations and stuff can stem back to, you know, like fucking bombs going off and all stuff like that. And she mentioned something like that's why some people don't like men particularly don't like a lot of loud noise or whatever sometimes, because it can be from that. I don't obviously know if you've done much, you know, reading up on that kind of stuff, but when she told us that, I was like, no way, that's mental. Like, I never would have thought that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, firstly, I think, like, Ryan, you explained the project probably better than I did. Like, there's the comparison to be made, but then obviously you can't compare. And obviously there's so many differences, but then I hope I've found like a sort of like a similarity and the lesson that they taught us, sort of thing, like a lesson to take forward for us men today. And I think that, like, for these men, like, it was such a, they were sort of like taken away. If you think of it of like normative society at the time, like, was putting so much pressure on men, as it, you know, still does in a way, to like be a man and sort of like be putting this pressure on like masculinity. So like there was a big Victorian sort of culture of like the stiff upper lip mentality, sort of like get on with it, and that sort of like it sort of, that was a really prominent thing at the time. And then all of a sudden you have men taken out of that environment and put into an environment where their lives are at stake every day, and then who do they have around them to sort of like support each other? Literally just themselves. and each other. And so, you know, some historians will point at like divisions in the armies and things like that, but I think the research that I found was way more like just like important for men to learn about today than any sort of like divisions you may hear about within the armies and between armies and stuff like that. And that was just like, yeah, that was like the main scope. That was the main idea of the project. And I think with like the generational trauma that you're talking about, Jay, like I haven't looked into sort of like that. I remember like listening to the podcast with Robin, and that was really interesting how there's been a like connection made there. But I think there is like that sort of generational element to it where men are sort of like, it is just like descending down generations, and you can see like the similarities with how society, you know, misunderstood. One of my episodes on the on the Instagram page is called like the misunderstandings of masculinity. So like talking about sort of how the post-war society, when men came back to Britain afterwards, and like, you know, other countries that participated in the war, there was a real like misunderstanding of like what happened to these men. And it wasn't in these sort of like traits that men were having in terms of like the shell shock and sort of emotional trauma and emotional instability. There was just like, people just couldn't understand that this was, you couldn't be a man if you lost your masculinity, basically, if you had these sort of like traits, and it was a real sort of hindrance to your masculinity. And you still see that's sort of that generational thing of like the way that society, you know, to an extent, we're moving through it, and like through like your podcast and like loads of other like the sort of like the men's mental health movement in general, we are moving past it slowly, but you can still see the similarities in the way that like society misunderstands men and men misunderstand themselves just through the sort of like descent of masculinity and the sort of pressures that it has. And it's called like it's called like hegemonic masculinity, I think. Just like the pressures of being a man, really.
Yeah, 100%.
You just still see it today. Yeah.
It's, like you said, it's anything in it, even from like feeling like you have to be the provider and everything like that. And we've spoken about it loads, like even when, for instance, I've got an example. Myself and my partner a while ago, like say a month or so or something, we just went for like a bite to eat somewhere. Really nice restaurant, but it's like casual kind of lunch and stuff like that. And once we'd ordered the food, the person that took our order immediately passed me the the card reader to pay.
Yeah,
like that. And I was going to pay anyway, because I'm quite old fashioned in that sense. I like to pay. Unless I'm fucking skint and my partner suggests going out, I'm like, well, you're fucking paying then. Do you know what I mean? But in that sense, and then I said to my partner after it, like, I just got my phone, like, boop, contactless paid. And then I said to her after it, my partner, I said, do you not think that's a bit... Because what if in that instance I didn't work and my partner was the breadwinner and I was like a stay-at-home dad? And imagine if I had to go to the woman like, oh no, I'm not paying. Like, do you know what I mean? And like you said, it is that kind of expected thingy of like men, and then that then puts the pressure on men where they feel like they have to provide. Do you know what I mean? And it's just that way, and it's pretty fucked up. But I was going to ask you as well what your thoughts are. And this might not be related because I know you're more of a history man, whereas this is probably more of a modern question. I was going to say modern man question.
Modern man question.
So what are your thoughts on like the war today, and do you know like the aftercare for people that come out? Because I know you mentioned before like shell shock and PTSD, because obviously back in the day they probably weren't all that shit there, was it? You know, like when people come out and they being mad aggressive and all stuff like that, whereas now I'm not clued up on it really. I don't know much about it, but do you know, is there much stuff there for people that come out? Is there like support for them, and like did they come out of the army and get free support and counselling and shit like that? Like, I don't actually know. I'm just more asking out of curiosity.
I mean, I feel a bit like I don't. This is probably a downside of my project. I haven't really related it much to like modern conflicts and the modern sort of like army, like I guess like system. So I'm not like that. I'm not that clued up on it. I would like to think there's like, you know, through, you know, the lessons they taught us, through like the lessons of previous conflicts and stuff like that. Like we have, you know, you'd like to think that there is a lot more provisions these days. But yeah, I'm sort of I don't know, to be honest.
No, yeah, fair enough.
A good person to ask that would be Rucker.
Yeah, he loves all shit like that, doesn't he?
But I think he was in the army.
Yeah.
So he'll be able to. So Rucker will message you if you listen to this. We'll message you and get a good answer from you. But I just want to go back to a sec, Charlie, about that hegemonic masculinity. So I found like a definition of it here, and it's fucking wild. So hegemonic masculinity refers to the dominant form of masculinity that is privileged and upheld by society. It's characterised by characteristics such as strength, courage, aggression, and the ability to provide and protect.
Yeah, pretty much what people expect a man to be, isn't it? Like,
it's pretty much what people expect men to be
stereotypically
to this day, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, but it's like some people are a lot less inclined to the aggression and the strong and the, you know, typical masculine features like that. But I think in a lot of men, it's very much hardwired to provide and protect. And I don't think that's something that is necessarily needed to be forgotten about, because if you're a man or a woman, you can provide and protect.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's specifically expected from men. I think it's expected from fucking human beings, men, woman, or whoever. If you've got the ability to provide and protect those like who mean something to you or who depend on you, they're great traits to sort of like harness. But I just don't think they should be expected from someone off the bat if it doesn't naturally come to them, because some people will just sort of sit there and allow their fella to just beep away and all that stuff. Whereas if it was the other way around and the fucking contactless machine got put to them, it'd be like batted away. It'd be like, nah, fucking, he's paying for that. It still exists. Like it's very, like, I know we're in 2024 and everything's, you know, becoming dead equal and all that stuff, but it's not going as fast as I think a lot of people think. Because I think it is still there. The sort of
there's just a lot of like outdated stuff though, isn't there, that's not going to go away overnight.
Yeah,
do you know, even the sense of like tiny little things, like say if you're getting on a bus or something, there's very much a lot of people will be like, oh no, ladies first, and it's like, do you know what I mean? It's
but I think though it can depend on the individual, because I would do that just to be nice.
Yeah,
I'd do it if it was a bloke next to me. I'd be like, oh, go on you first, mate. Like you were here first.
Yeah,
but people who interpret that as somewhat derogatory, I just think they're like, you're an arsehole. Like the person was just being fucking nice, saying you first. Whereas people will like get the fucking back up and be like, we're all equal. I don't have to go first before you. And it's like, fucking hell, like, you got too much time in your hands to fucking have a confrontation over something so minor and actually nice.
Yeah, man.
Like the Karens of the world who can't sort of like accept, you know, someone stepping aside and just doing something nice.
Very true, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, I got like most of what you guys were saying. That you cut out a few times, but I think I got like the main gist of it. Yeah. I think there's I don't know at the moment. Happening, and there's a lot of like, but then there's a lot of like acceptance of sort of these traditional sort of stereotypes, etc. They are slowly being unraveled, but then at the same time it's weird because a lot of them still playing out in everyday life, and I think it's weird. This can I guess relate to like men dealing with their mental health as well, because you've got a lot of men, for example, in society who are still, if you've got like 50, 60s of hard wiring thinking about masculinity, the way that sort of like you've been just, if you've got that hardwire in you from like 50 years, it is 50 plus years, for example, it's, I feel like it would be very hard to unravel that. And I think for a lot of people, like, you've got this way of thinking about masculinity and sort of like men's mental health, which is sort of like, is that it's just like so ingrained that, you know, some sort of help with mental health and stuff, but I think there's a way that like we need to, as a society, like help those people, because those people are the ones that are most in need. Because I feel like for me, coming from me being the age I am now, it's sort of it's something that like I've learned about so much through just like hearing about it just in like everyday life. And it's sort of like it's got me at a young age where I feel like I'm always going to now think of it, and it's sort of like it's quite ingrained in me now. But I feel like the people who are most in need with say these ideas of like traditional masculinity and I think men's mental health are those older people who like have it so ingrained, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
Like stereotypes, yeah.
I always think that like a lot of older people that have suffered stuff like that, like probably more people, I'd say like 50 plus, like you can just imagine like not many of them can change, you know, like in terms of the views and their opinions and stuff like that, like they're pretty much set in stone. But I wanted to ask you a pretty fun question actually, and it's still related to the war. So it's a two-part question. And I don't know whether it is fun actually, it might not be. It's hard to make war questions fun. But I was going to say, so what's your not what's your favourite war, but which war are you more interested in out of World War One and World War Two? And then the end part of the question is, do you think there's going to be a World War Three in our lifetime?
Oh.
That is a spanner, mate. You just threw him a fucking spanner. We didn't plan for this. We didn't plan for this, Jay. Fucking hell.
You fucker.
He's going on. He's lost him. We've lost him. He's gone.
What is my favourite war?
So I don't know fuck all about the wars, to be fair. I don't.
I mean, my project's on like World War One, but I feel like World War Two is more, I don't know, like it's more like it feels more interesting and sort of more like relevant. Not relevant. I don't know, say like relevant, but like it feels, I guess, more like relatable to like the climate of like the world now. I guess,
yeah.
In terms of like the and that's there were I don't know.
Proper snookered your ear, Anna.
You fucking Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Well, pardon?
I said, is Jay fucking Ronnie O'Sullivan? Snookered you?
I don't know much about the war. Like, I don't. So, like, this is going to be a proper noob question. But, like, so the World War, is that where, and I know it's in the title, so I'm probably going to sound thick as fuck, but is that where the whole world is at war with each other? Or is it like a certain, no, let me finish. Or is like certain like countries team up, so like could China and Australia be like trying to fuck up Italy and Spain, but then England and fucking Afghanistan are on a team or something like that? Or is everyone just like, nah, fuck you, shooting missiles at each other and stuff like that? I don't get it.
I think can I say something before you answer, Charlie? Because you can go, mate, but a lot of that World War stuff does lead into like politics.
Yeah.
And I straight up refuse to talk about politics because...
Is any of it to do with religion, like back in the day?
I personally... No, yeah, it was. But World War II was about like the Jewish people, weren't it?
I don't know nothing about war, so this is a lesson for me.
I think these types of questions will just lead to division, because no matter what you're going to say, there's going to be someone who will misinterpret what we say because we're not educated enough to make
Charlie
a
is.
valid opinion.
Charlie's educated.
It might be, but this is his get out of jail free card.
Oh, for fuck's.
So what I'm saying is, it's not where every country in the world just decides to fucking say fuck it, let's just fight. But there's a lot of political agendas like behind it and stuff, and there's lovely people that say that like, you know, war's actually really good for fucking people's economies, which is like, you know, you can argue for and against that, but people are of that opinion.
Yeah, well, I suppose the most modern, and again, I know what I sound ignorant to it, but I don't involve myself in it, but I know obviously all the stuff with Russia and Ukraine, and then there's a lot other stuff in there with what's the country again that's currently kind of
Israel and Palestine.
Yeah, Palestine. Sorry, because that's there's a lot of like takeaways and stuff don't sell Coca-Cola, do they? Because Coca-Cola
that supports Israel,
Palestine, or is it something like that?
I think they support Israel or something like that. But still, we don't know enough about this to talk about it like straight up, man.
It's a discussion, man.
I know it's a discussion, but we're leaving ourselves open for like.
Yeah, but with full disclosure, said we know fuck all about it, so
exactly. So we shouldn't fucking.
We're allowed to talk about it.
We shouldn't even try because we're just asking to be fucking worded up.
We've got fucking man like Charlie the historian on it. So do you know what I mean?
I know. Well, you try and answer that, Charlie, but I've tried to sort of alleviate some of the pressure from you because there's so many different angles how you can define why wars begin and where they come from and stuff like that.
Putin.
Floor's yours, Charlie, mate. You go. I've tried to stall for you. You can go. You've had a lot of time to think there.
You know, I could ask something a bit more light. Actually, have you ever watched the TV program Drunk History?
No.
Have you ever watched it?
Yeah, I've seen bits of it. I think I've seen like clips of it. Yeah.
Oh, no, I was going to.
You said this feels a bit like Drunk History.
Well, I was going to say it's a load of comedians in it. Just I think they kept kind of getting asked questions on history, and they're all getting pissed at the same time, and they're just chatting absolute shit. And I feel like I should have been on that program.
Yeah, you'd make a good addition, mate.
So, what was fucking Hitler like then?
Charlie, Mike's over to you, mate. You weigh in any way you can.
I'm gonna avoid the
you don't have to answer anything, mate. Like,
war question.
Yeah, I'm just chatting shit.
I rate we just move on.
There's going to be there's obviously conflicts going on like everywhere. I don't know if there'll be another one, maybe just because World War One and World War Two are so iconic as like those two world wars.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if there'll be another one because they like define like the whole like sort of 20th century. So I don't know if there'll be another one which we like jump on as like that's World War Three.
Yeah.
Because World War One and World War Two are like so sort of like infamous as I guess like a package. That's a bad way of putting it. As a collected. So I feel like that there won't ever be one labelled World War Three in our lifetime because I guess people will be like scared to put that label on it because obviously like those ones have been labelled like World War One, World War Two in like retrospect, whereas like for us to label it World War Three, we'd have to like be doing it at the time, which would be a bit like we don't know, like is it like that, like do we want to compare this war to like the infamous world wars of
wait, sorry mate, well, isn't that so like 21st century that we've got to label a war before it happens?
Yeah, wokey.
That's the problem, man. That is the problem right there. Oh, we can't fight yet. We need to label it, and then we can scrap all we want. But
that's what they're discussing.
But I don't know about you two, but I fucking hope not. I hope nothing.
No, of course
that happens.
I was going to ask again. I'm not this into thingy question. This is just me, where I'm not very educated on the war. So, like, I'm just asking this question more out of curiosity. So, when it is the war, like, because obviously in today's like where we are at today, it's a lot more advanced in terms of like technology that they've got, and I'd imagine like fucking weapons and stuff like that.
Yeah, like nukes.
And I was gonna say, like, you could imagine places like fucking Russia and China and stuff like that. Like, they could probably just press a button and fucking blow up the UK. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so in terms of war back then, it was a lot different though, wasn't it? Like,
it was a lot different. But I think the difference today is that, like, if say one country attacks another country, then that it initiates like protocol for the countries that have an alliance to then start. So say, for example, I'll just pull this out of thin air, that a made up country called fucking Table Stan started fighting with Laptoponia. Laptoponia might have an agreement with like 10 other countries that it's like, if we get attacked, you lot are gonna have to defend us and fuck Table Stan up. I'm not saying any countries because
is that what happened in World War I and World War II? Then was everyone at each other's necks?
It wasn't everyone, but from my understanding, Charlie might be able to correct me, but it was a certain alliance of countries fighting another certain alliance of countries.
Right.
So I think World War One was fought in France.
For someone like me,
is that right, Charlie? World War One was France and like Normandy.
Mainly in France, and like sort of you had battlefields like sort of dotted around elsewhere.
I don't know.
So is it like the Avengers trying to fuck up Thanos in some way?
Pretty much, yeah. And then that kicked off like the Guardians of the Galaxy joining to try and help and stuff. So it's too.
So not everyone was at war then. So like
not that I can
Because back then, surely they didn't have like fucking phones and that. They did to like text each other and be like, "Yo," do you know what I mean? So like, how would Australia have been like, right? Let's fuck up fucking Wales. Or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm trying to understand. I don't know nothing about it, and I'm now bringing a bit of a comedy side to it, but I just don't know nothing about it. So apologise for the ignorance.
Yeah, we need to disclaim this. I think we need to do a little intro at the start saying that we apologise if we've offended the
Who's going to get offended?
people of laptop owner.
Mate, it's today's world that gets offended.
You never know.
I don't think people in the past give a shit, man. That's the whole point. We're living in the snowflake generation.
Yeah. What are you going to do tomorrow if you open up your like phone and it has like BBC News, like you just see like breaking news, laptop owner declares war on Table Stan. You're like, what happens then?
I'll just be like, oh my god, I've started World War III.
Check if we've gone viral.
Have we gone viral?
No, but yeah. So anyway, moving on from all that
Thank God.
What drawn you to history? Is did you just enjoy it in school or?
I was always like fascinated by like I guess just like how like different it was and how a reason for people doing it is like the escapism of it, because you're just literally like thinking of like a completely different time.
Yeah.
And we're like, quote unquote, like I mean, it's not like relevant sort of thing. Even though I think all history is like relevant, but like it, like the fascination of it. But then, I mean, I'm not like massively. I'm not like a massive history like nerd or anything. I'm not like I don't know like much about like I couldn't tell you like, oh yeah, this happened in this year, this happened in this year, this happened in this year. Like sort of like I don't see it as like a massive timeline thing. Now I'm just like I'm a nerd in terms of like I love like writing about it and love like sort of I love like making arguments about it and stuff. I just love like the word that you can just write. I don't know, just making arguments. I just love it. And that's like what I've done it at like what I've loved about it at like degree level, I guess. But yeah, I guess like initially just I don't know, I just love like it was just like fascinating. Just
yeah.
You're learning about like things that are so like relevant. Sorry, like distant, but then also relevant and like relatable, I guess.
I know what you mean, because a lot of the shit from like history kind of stuff like just never happened in today's world, would it? So it's like mad, like looking back on it. But I was gonna say, like, just to obviously like relate on some level. When I was in school, I loved history. But I think like my teacher was a bit of a knobhead, so it put me off, like choosing it as one of my options. So we ended up like dropping it and doing like catering instead of something like that. But I did love it, and out of all my grades, I got the highest grades in history. So like, part of me wanted to kind of study it, but trying to think like the things that I kind of learned from history. I know did a lot about Henry VIII, I think.
You still know the song?
Very, like...
No. Oh. I just know it's like beheaded, survived.
That's the one,
deceased, diseased, survived, or something like that.
That's right, yeah.
But my partner was actually telling me the other day that our eldest daughter's learning about Hitler at the moment in school. She's 7, and my partner was like, "Why the fuck does a 7-year-old need to be learning about fucking Hitler?"
Wow, that's dark.
That is like if you're a like primary school teacher, you learn about us at that one, so that teach. That is tough. Obviously, it's not. There's not many controversial opinions on him, I guess.
No.
Yeah,
like he was a twat.
I've never heard an argument for. It's always which is great.
Do you reckon there's anyone out there that's called the kid like Adolf or something like that? I think someone's been
there will be, but I think that name's like banned in like a lot of countries. Like you just can't legit register your child as certain names for certain countries. Could be wrong. Could be chatting absolute fucking.
No, you're right. I seen some a few years ago about a massive after like the Euros when France won it. Like loads of people were calling the kid like Mbappe Griezmann, and people was like, "You can't do that. Like, this kid's gonna get bullied, man." Do you know what I mean?
I mean, one thing is no one is ever at least that horrible little Tash is like out of fashion forever.
Yeah, true.
I do it every now and then for banter when I have a shave. I'll just leave it
in the mirror for like 1 second and like, yeah,
and then lick it off.
Yeah, I think if people who say they don't do that, they're fucking liars because they definitely, do.
We've all done it. Yeah, we've all done it.
I've not done it. I can't grow a fucking tash. So let's circle back round to Charlie. Eh? We've gone on a lot of rabbit holes there. As I did warn you, this would happen, Charlie. I did warn you. So, with your like uni degree, is it a 3-year course, 4-year course that you've done?
Yeah. I've just finished it now. Yeah.
So, can you tell us like the sort of like the highs of it and like the lows of like the studying, the workload, stress, the support that you've got over these 4 years, and like if anyone was to think about starting university, like what you would say to them to sort of expect and so on?
I mean, I think like just simply like I would just say if you've got like the resources and stuff, like just like do it. And if you're like scared about going to uni, for example, like if you've got the resources, just do it because it is the most like, and I'll say it's like the best experience like I've ever had in my life the last 3 years. But that's not necessarily from a stance of like, oh yeah, like it's amazing. Like you just go out and like you just get like pissed every night. Like you just do like it's not like that sort of like my experience of it hasn't like I've had like really just like really like eye-opening. And I think on that basis I would like recommend it to anyone, just because I feel like you learn so much from it, and like you'll have like highs and lows, but then like it makes it so much worth it, and you just like learn and grow so much from that. Like I guess just like closeted sort of background where I sort of I ever had like one friendship group from, I went to like I went to school with like I went to primary school, secondary school, college with like the same people. Never like really had to like meet different people. I was always like pretty secure in my friendship group and stuff. And then went to uni. It was all of a sudden like bang, like you've got to now meet new people. You've got to like you've and I never really thought about like myself much before uni. Went to uni, all of a sudden I just like meet so many different people, and it's just like your worldview just changes completely. Your perspective on everything just changes, and like through that I've just like got such a better like I don't know just like I feel like I've like matured massively in the last 3 years, and the person I was at the start is like just completely different to the person I am now. In like a good way. I'm just like you just learn so much about like life, really, and I think that's like such a good thing for anyone to do if they have the opportunity, and I'd recommend it for like anyone.
100%. Yeah. Was you staying at like student digs the whole time, or did like you and some of your mates get like a shared flat or anything?
Yeah, we're in Hall's first year, which like was interesting at times. Like my place was like a retirement home, but like through that, I've met like some like really really good people. Like I love my mates so much now. Like they're like just like top people. And then I've been living with the same people for like the last 2 years in like two different flats. Both of them absolute pigsties at times, but like if it was down to me, I'd keep them clean, but other people aren't so bothered.
No, of course. Are you still there now at the flat, like with your uni mates and that? Or?
Nah, I'm at home now. Yeah, I'm at home.
Is that it now? Graduated, moved back home, and
yeah. So I'm going to Leeds next year for like a masters.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I'm moving up your neck of the woods.
I was going to say, yeah.
Next year.
It's not far from us, Leeds, and Leeds is not far from Huddersfield. Have you heard of? I always say this, like people don't fucking know, but you know where Huddersfield is, in it, like pretty much right next to Leeds.
Is that where you guys are based?
No, we're in Manchester, but we tend to go to Huddersfield every now and then, and that's where I went to uni. But I was going to say, when you're down in Leeds, let us know, and we could maybe like meet up and go on a little night out in Huddersfield.
Yeah,
we got that
little ale trail,
or even in Leeds. Leeds is mint. I love Leeds.
Yeah, I've only heard good things about Leeds. Yeah, nice. I wanted to test it out, like get it for myself.
Yeah, it's mint, mate.
But yeah, no, I'm like that. Yeah, back home for summer now and everything. Yeah,
nice.
Finished uni.
That's mint. I was going to say. So what? This is again a very vague question, but what does somebody who has studied history go on to do for a job? Because in my head, the first thing I think of is like working in a museum or something like that. But obviously, there's more to it, isn't there?
It's not specific to like, but you like it's like the skills you learn from it. One of them ones. So you're sort of like. People like employers will just like that you can write and like you can argue and things like that. Yeah. So like I want to go into like sort of communication, like media and stuff like that, and like PR. So I want to sort of like I feel like I'm a decent like writer. So I'm that's what I want to go down with it. But yeah, like only like a select few will actually like go on to be like a museum curator or like a
lecturer or something.
Yeah, and I feel like you've like all of me and my mates have been saying, like my course mates have been saying, like if like we were saying like how you've got to like really really love history to like continue it after doing like 3 years of it, a degree, because I'm so done with it now. Like I love it, but like I'm like that was long.
Yeah.
And you've got to seriously love it to like continue it, I think. Yeah, and you can tell like the lecturers that I've had at like Bristol have just been like they are like history like gurus. Like they love it.
They fucking love
They
it.
really.
I was going to say,
They fucking love it.
there's nothing new comes out though, innit? So like, must get a bit boring at some point.
I know, yeah. Well, that's what someone was like. What are you going to study next? Future. It's like, yeah, good joke.
So what are you doing then at Leeds and your masters? Are you doing
communication and media?
Oh right, okay.
Yeah. So
What I was going to say on the back of you mentioning before about that you're very good at writing, you like writing and stuff. I wanted to ask what your thoughts were on ChatGPT, and do you use it to ever like, because we use it fucking all the time because we're shit at writing.
yeah, I'm like, I'm a bit scared of it. I don't like it, but like I know a lot of other people who absolutely abuse it for like, and they've had to like. At uni, they've had to sort of like bring in like new measures for like people, like to say like like we know people. I'm personally like not a fan of. Well, I know some people who absolutely love it and they use it for like everything.
No, defo.
Yeah, I'm a bit against it.
Well, only because it's going to potentially take your next job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm a bit. I don't know. I quite fancy getting a job. I don't really fancy like losing out to some robot. And then have you seen like football like interviews? But then they're just like AIing them all. So like, there's one of like Southgate after the I think it's after the game or the one, or maybe like even the first game, and it's like you without knowing it was AI, you could be fooled by it, and he just goes, "Well, I think that was pretty fucking wank, to be honest." And it's like that is it's like you can't tell that he is that is AI. But it's so lifelike how they've like got it to move, like his face, like it is like voice and stuff, and like it can trick people so easily.
No, you're right.
Like, yeah, it's
but they're fucking hilarious. All those Southgate ones, so funny.
Yeah, they're quite funny. Yeah.
So before we wrap up, Charlie, we want a Freshers Week story. That's keep it PG if your shooter's going to listen to this. But we want to know some Bristol shenanigans. Who did what? Who spewed up where? All that stuff, all the good stuff. It don't even have to be freshers, but like a favourite non-academic memory of university.
It's not so much like a one moment sort of thing, but this. First year of university is like mental because none of your work counts towards like your final sort of like degree. Only the two second years count. So your first year is just literally like you go to uni, whatever, but like you don't have to like take much care of like your work and stuff like that. So the culture is just like, and for me as well, like I went to uni 2021 just after COVID, after all the clubs had like just opened up. So you had like all these like teenagers who had like just come out of COVID, like raring to go, and like and then like I'd actually have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off because it was like that was when I'd have the time off because you had all the student nights like going on, and then like you just go out like you just. And I don't remember ever feeling like hungover because I was just like buzzing about it. But I think like just the first year, like the I don't know, just like the culture of like first year is just amazing, and that's like anyone will like who goes to uni will like say like first year was just like messy, but just like the best, like yeah, like it's just not normal. It's just not normal. don't really have,
bet
like,
it's
a
needed, to
song.
be fair. After like all those years in school and college and stuff like that, I think it's your first year of fucking adulting, isn't it? It's your first year of making your own decisions. So naturally, you're gonna fucking go wild, aren't you?
Yeah, and especially after COVID, like I think, like I think of it as you sort of get your student loan and like you're in like halls and like you don't have to like, you don't have to. There's not like a lot of worries like in that sort of like setup. So you're away from home for the first time and it's just party season.
Party season.
That's insane.
That is absolutely class, mate. Charlie, thank you very much for coming on, mate, and fucking giving us time of day. And we're glad that you've passed your dissertation. Congratulations on all that stuff. Have you got any parting messages?
Wouldn't be able to do it without you.
For the TBC members about your project or about life or whatever you want, your parting message?
Well, firstly, check out the lessons they taught us, obviously.
Big up.
And
I think I need to fucking check them out anyway.
You really do, mate. They're only like a minute long videos. You should be able to learn something.
There you go.
Yes, it's digestible stuff. And I don't know. Just men should use each other as mates and as friends, and
100%, mate.
Like that's my sort of like something I'm really passionate about. And I mean, seeing you two, like you're obviously like, you remind me of me and my best mate. Like you're obviously like really tight, and that's, I don't know.
Mate,
that's like we men just. Oh
no, I do. Oh, boy.
Men just like need to be more open, and sort of that's the first step. Yeah.
100%, man. There's nothing worse than a group of lads that just fucking, do you know, like them proper like lads, like fucking, I don't know, but
Beers, lads.
And it's like, there's nothing better than just opening up. Like, me and him do it to each other even now daily. Like, if I'm getting a bit stressed about something, or if he's getting a bit stressed about something, like, we'll like voice note each other or message each other, or we'll sometimes save it for Friday when we finish the pod, and we'll be like, so what's been stressing you out this week and stuff like that. And then some weeks I might speak to him and take like the full 1 to 2 hours, and then other weeks we both might go back and forth, whereas Ryan might, lean on my shoulder quite a lot. And like you said, it's the best thing you can do, mate, to open up and speak.
Have that camaraderie and that security in a brotherhood is it's hard to come by, and when you've got it, it's fucking ace.
100%.
Yeah.
I was going to say, mate.
I feel like that's.
Sorry, go on. Sorry.
Men find it like hard naturally, and I even noticed myself doing it. Like you don't know what to say to open up to someone. You need to unlock it a bit. Definitely. And once you sort of like, I feel like sort of it's happening slow. More people will do it.
Defo, mate. Well, on that note, we're gonna fuck it. I don't know what it's been like for you, but the connection for us has been fucking shite, and it keeps cutting out. So it's dead hard to like kind of like know when it's gonna cut out and stuff. But I have really enjoyed speaking to you, getting to know you, and I've learned a lot in the hour that we've been speaking. Mainly learn how much of a fucking donut I am. But, when you do move up to Leeds, mate, drop us a message and we'll 100%, because it's not far from us.
I definitely will. Yeah, definitely will. Show me the ropes.
Take you to a strip club.
Take you to a strip joint. Gentleman's lounge.
Nah, but it's been mint chatting to you, mate, and have a mega weekend, and we'll definitely stay in touch.
Yeah, mate, been mega, Charlie. Mate, yeah. Thank you very much, pal.
Yeah. Cheers for your help with everything.
Oh, mate, don't mention it. All the best.
Thank you.
See you later.